In the 15 mystical constructions, 15 unsolved mysteries of antiquity, it is a network, and the how to what not before join our. This is in the air. These how could some local archaeology. However, none of these theories explain why the creators chose images that can only be seen from the sky. Maria Reike, a German researcher who dedicated 50 years of her life to studying the lines of Nazca, insisted until her last day that these geoglyphs are part of a gigantic astronomical calendar. But many of her colleagues do not share this view. Particularly mysterious is the image of what is called the astronaut, a strange humanoid figure with a disproportionately large head, which seems to wave its hand at the observer from above. In the stony soil of the Nazca Desert, the lines have been preserved thanks to the unique climate of the region. Wind blows away the upper layer of reddish soil, exposing the light ground beneath it, and rare rains do not have time to wash away these ancient creations. But the most astonishing thing is that the creators of these lines, apparently, never saw their creations in their entirety. What force drove them? What knowledge allowed them to embody their idea with such precision? And the main question, for whom were these messages intended, if not for the observer from the sky? Researchers continued to discover new lines and images thanks to modern remote sensing technologies, but each new discovery only deepens the mystery surrounding these ancient geoglyphs. Perhaps we will never know the true purpose of the lines of Nazca, but they continue to attract us with their enigmatic beauty and incomprehensible precision, reminding us that ancient civilizations possessed knowledge and technologies that we are just beginning to understand today. But the lines of Nazca are just one of the many mysteries that the ancient land of America hides. Let us now travel to the northern continent, where among the dense forests of New England lies another unexplained mystery of the past, the so-called American Stonehenge. In the quiet hills of New Hampshire, far from the bustling cities and tourist routes, stands an enigmatic structure of massive stone blocks arranged in a precise astronomical order. Cold granite monoliths, covered in moss and lichen, have been silent for centuries, yet their arrangement speaks of deep knowledge of their creators. Who built these mysterious megaliths on American soil? Some archaeologists claim that this stone complex was created by ancient Celtic seafarers who crossed the Atlantic long before Columbus, while others attribute its construction to early European settlers of the 17th century. However, carbon dating of organic materials found beneath some of the stones indicates an age of several thousand years long before the arrival of Europeans on these shores. The central element of the complex, the altar stone with artificially carved grooves, is particularly intriguing. Some researchers believe these grooves were used for collecting blood during ritual sacrifices. Around this stone, strange artifacts have been found in the damp soil, carved stones with unknown symbols, fragments of ceramic of unknown origin, and bronze tools whose metallurgical formula does not match known ancient technologies of the region. The most astonishing feature of the American Stonehenge is its astronomical precision. During the solstices and equinoxes, sunlight passes through specific openings in the stones, illuminating certain points of the complex with remarkable accuracy. How could ancient builders achieve such mathematical and astronomical precision without modern tools? Local resident John Harrison, whose family has owned this land for 4 generations, tells of strange acoustic effects that occur among the stones on windless nights. A soft hum, as if the stone giants are engaged in a slow conversation in a forgotten language. When standing in the center of the circle during a full moon, he says, it seems as if the stones are vibrating, transmitting some ancient message that we can no longer understand. Linguists who have studied the strange inscriptions on some of the stones suggest that these may be an ancient form of ogham used by Celtic druids, but there is not enough evidence to support this theory. Other experts believe these signs could be connected to Phoenician seafarers, or even a mysterious civilization that left no other traces of its existence. The cold granite holds its secrets, and the cool wind that blows between the megaliths carries away the whispers of the ages, not giving us a definitive answer. Perhaps the key to unraveling the mystery lies in the connection between the American Stonehenge and other megalithic structures on the continent's strange stone circles of Wyoming, enigmatic mounds of Ohio, and mysterious ruins in the mountains of New Mexico. All these structures seem to form an invisible network, covering the continental network, whose purpose remains hidden from us behind the veil of time. But if we step away from traditional theories and look at these ancient stones with a new perspective, perhaps we will see not just an astronomical calendar, but a unique map of the starry sky, pointing to some distant point in the cosmos, a place, according to ancient legends of many peoples, from which those who brought knowledge and technology to humanity came. But this is just one of many hypotheses, and the truth about the creators of the American Stonehenge continues to elude us, like the morning mist that envelops these ancient stones at dawn. And now let us move on to the hot jungles, where among the sea of evergreen vegetation lies, perhaps, the greatest mystery of ancient America. Now let us move from the shady forests of New England to the rolling plains of Ohio, where amidst the green fields and quiet valleys lies one of the most enigmatic structures of northern America, the Great Serpent Mound. Imagine a colossal earthen mound, artfully shaped like a writhing serpent, stretching over 400 meters along the crest of a hill. Its silent presence is felt even now, thousands of years after its creation, when you stand on the viewing platform and take in these sinuous earthen curves, so reminiscent of the body of a gigantic reptile. On clear days, when the sunlight glides over the grassy slopes of the mound, a nearly mystical sensation arises, as if the ancient earthen serpent were slowly moving, breathing the warmth of the ages. The most astonishing aspect of this monumental structure is its astronomical orientation. The serpent's head, shaped like an oval, appears to be ready to swallow an egg, or perhaps the sun, points with remarkable accuracy to the sunset point on the summer solstice. How could ancient builders, without modern instruments, calculate this complex astronomical dependency with such mathematical precision? Professor William Roth, who has dedicated over 20 years to studying the Serpent Mound, asserts, "This is not merely an earthen mound. It is a sophisticated astronomical instrument that allowed the ancient inhabitants of these lands to accurately determine the onset of the most important seasonal cycles." Carbon analysis of soil samples from the deep layers of the mound indicates its age around 3,000 years. This means that the magnificent earthen serpent has been observing the change of seasons long before the Romans founded their eternal city, long before the flourishing of classical Greece. Who created this extraordinary structure? Archaeologists link the Serpent Mound with representatives of the Adena cultura, mysterious civilization that thrived in the valley of the Ohio River from the first millennium BC to our era. But what compelled these ancient people to invest such colossal efforts in creating an earthen image of a serpent? Some researchers suggest that the mound served not only as an astronomical observatory, but also as the center of a complex ritual complex. Dr. Elizabeth Morgan, a specialist in ancient cults of Northern America, proposes an intriguing hypothesis. The serpent in the mythology of many nations symbolizes the connection between the earthly and the underworld, between life and death. Perhaps this gigantic earthen serpent served as a unique portal through which shamans of ancient tribes made their mystical journeys to other worlds. The peculiarity of the Serpent Mound is further enhanced by discoveries made in its vicinity, strange artifacts made of polished stone, with carved images of stars and constellations, fragments of ritual masks with features not characteristic of known Indian cultures of the region, unusual metallic objects whose chemical composition still puzzles specialists. What is even more astonishing is that similar images of serpents can be found in various corners of the planet, from British hills to Peruvian deserts. Is this a mere coincidence or evidence of ancient connections between continents, about which we are not even aware. For the indigenous people of America, the Serpent Mound remains a sacred place. A shaman of the Shawnee tribe, whose ancestors lived on these lands for centuries, whispers, "Our elders say that on certain nights, when the full moon illuminates the curves of the great serpent, one can hear its breathing and feel the earth beneath one's feet gently vibrate in rhythm with this breathing." Many visitors to this place report strange sensations, inexplicable feelings of awe. Sudden temperature changes not explained by meteorological conditions, unusual sound phenomena occurring on windless days. Are these phenomena the result of imagination, impressed by the grandeur of the ancient structure, or does the Serpent Mound possess some special energetic properties that modern science has not yet been able to explain? Perhaps we will never fully understand the creators of the Great Serpent, their beliefs and knowledge, or the goals they pursued in building this monumental structure. But when you stand on the crest of the hill, looking at these ancient earthen curves, it is impossible not to feel the connection of the ages, as if some invisible hand were reaching through the centuries, conveying a message whose meaning we are just beginning to comprehend. And who knows what other secrets this ancient land holds, what mysteries of the past are hidden beneath layers of soil and time, waiting for their hour to reveal themselves to the amazed eyes of future generations of researchers. Let us now leave the mysterious lands of Northern America and travel high into the Andes, to a place where the thin mountain air is filled with the mysteries of ancient civilizations, whose stone traces continue to challenge our understanding of history. Imagine this: at an altitude of nearly 4,000 meters above sea level, where breathing becomes difficult and the sky seems incredibly close, lies the ancient city of Tiwanku, a silent witness to past epochs. When you first encounter these cyclopean structures, you experience a strange sensation of disorientation, as if you have entered a place that exists both in our world and beyond its boundaries. Massive stone gates, known as the Gates of the Sun, seem to invite you not just into another space, but into another dimension of time. Carved from a single block of andesite, weighing 10 tons, these gates are adorned with mysterious symbols and figures, among which the central place is occupied by a figure known as the Weeping God, a deity with rays emanating from its head, holding objects that resemble scepters or wands of power. What were the ancient masters trying to tell us with these images? What message did they encode in stone for future generations? Professor Arturo Menendez, who has dedicated 30 years of his life to studying Tiwanaku, speaks with unhidden emotion. "Every time I touch these stones, I feel that I am touching something that transcends our understanding of history." And indeed, Tiwanaku is a puzzle of anomalies that do not fit into the traditional archaeological paradigm. Consider, for example, the famous megaliths of this ancient city. Some of them weigh hundreds of tons and are worked with such precision that not even a knife blade can be inserted between the blocks. In the stone quarries located tens of kilometers from the city, archaeologists have found partially worked blocks, as if suddenly abandoned by the ancient builders. How were these colossal stones transported across the rugged mountain terrain in an era when, according to official history, there were no wheels or draft animals in this region? The dating of this mysterious complex is also puzzling. Official archaeology dates the flourishing of Tiwanaku to the period between the 5th and 10th centuries of our era. However, geological studies indicate a much older age. Dr. Robert Schoch, a geologist from Boston University who has studied the erosion of the stone structures, proposes a shocking hypothesis. The character of the weathering of some structures in Tiwanaku suggests that they could have been built 12,000 years ago, or even earlier, in a period when, according to the generally accepted historical model, there could not have been a developed civilization in this region. If this is true, then before us stands a fascinating possibility. Tiwanaku could have been a contemporary of the last ice age. The local Aymara legends add even more mystery to this enigma. In their ancient traditions, Tiwanku is called Tikal, the center of the world, and it is said that the city was created in ancient times by beings who descended from the heavens. These beings, whom the Aymara call Viracocha, were said to have the ability to make stones fly like leaves in the wind, and to have passed a knowledge of astronomy, agriculture, and medicine to humans. The elderly shaman Juan Mamani, whose ancestors have been preserving these legends for centuries, tells us, "Our elders say that when Viracocha finished building Tikal, they returned to the stars, but promised to return one day." It is remarkable that modern research shows that Tiwanaku was not just a city, but a complex astronomical observatory. The layout of its main structures exactly matches certain star constellations, and the orientation of the gates of the sun allows for the observation of solar and lunar cycles with remarkable accuracy. A particularly interesting feature is the underground temple, where strange stone heads have been found, embedded in the walls. Their expressive faces with wide eyes and unusual headgear represent various human types, from clearly European to African and Asian. How could the builders of Tiwanaku, presumably isolated in the highlands of the Andes, know about the existence of such diverse races? Or is this another evidence of global contacts in deep antiquity, about which we know almost nothing? Perhaps the most intriguing part of the complex is the so-called calendar of the sun, a massive stone slab with mysterious symbols that, according to some researchers, represent the oldest calendar, reflecting not only annual cycles but also larger cosmic periods, including the precession of the Earth's axis, the full cycle of which is approximately 26,000 years. How could the ancient builders possess such complex astronomical knowledge? And for what purpose did they need to track such colossal time cycles? Perhaps they were trying to predict some important cosmic event, or were preparing for it. Standing among these ancient stones, feeling their cold touch and listening to the mountain echo, one cannot help but ask, what else are these silent witnesses of the past hiding from us? What secrets did their creators take with them? And is not Tiwanaku the key to understanding our long history? A history that may be much older, more complex, and more mysterious than we are accustomed to think? As the sun sets behind the majestic Andean peaks, casting long shadows on the stone ruins, it seems that the very air around Tiwanaku is filled with the whispers of the ages, as if the ancient city is trying to tell us its story, but we have not yet learned to listen. Sacsayhuamán, a mystery of the Peruvian Andes. Transitioning from the enigmatic Tiwanaku, we found ourselves in another magical corner of Peru, Sacsayhuamán, where cyclopean walls of granite blocks, weighing up to 200 tons, seem to loom over us, leaving only questions about their creators. These imposing structures, carved from a single piece of stone, were fitted with astonishing precision, so that not even the thinnest piece of paper could be inserted between them. How could such a feat have occurred in ancient times, when it seemed there were no technological means to work with such massive blocks? This enigma only fuels the interest of researchers and archaeologists, as modern technologies are unable to replicate such craftsmanship, no matter how hard they try. Who could have created such masterpieces? Traditional archaeology asserts that Sacsayhuamán was built by the Incas in the 15th century. But many scholars dispute this version. Why? Because some of the blocks used in construction bear signs of being much older. What if this complex was built even before the Incas, perhaps by a civilization about which we know almost nothing? Or could it be the work of extraterrestrial beings who left their marks on our planet? Local legends, passed down through generations, tell of gods descending from the heavens and bringing knowledge that allowed them to build such grand structures. Imagine the builders of Sacsayhuamán moving these colossal stones up steep slopes using only primitive tools. There is no logic in this, and yet these walls stand here, unyielding and silent, as if guarding secrets waiting to be revealed. How could ancient masters, endowed with such extraordinary skills, know such advanced architectural and engineering principles? Or did they receive this knowledge from more advanced beings who shared it with them? One of the most intriguing aspects of Sacsayhuamán is that many of the blocks have a shape that allows them to fit together perfectly, like pieces of a puzzle. None of them requires a solution for joining, which only strengthens the feeling that something supernatural occurred here. How were these stones laid? Questions multiply, and answers remain elusive. Some researchers, such as Drs. Jorge Martinez, propose that ancient builders used some form of vibration technology that allowed them to manipulate the weight of the stones, making them easier to move. But how could this have looked in practice? As we try to unravel this mystery, the walls of Sacsayhuamán themselves become guardians of ancient secrets. Evening sunbeams, piercing through clouds, create amazing shadows on these monumental constructions, making us ponder, what else is hidden beyond the edge of our understanding? What are the true roots of this civilization? And what did they know about the world that has eluded us? The answers to these questions may lie somewhere among the stars, in the mysterious cosmos that we are just beginning to understand. Sacsayhuamán, like Tiwanku, remains a mystery that challenges, provokes, and makes us reflect on what truly happened in ancient times. How many more secrets lie hidden in the depths of the earth, waiting for their time to be revealed? Pyramids, found not in Egypt. Immersing ourselves in the atmosphere of mystery, let us transport ourselves to Guatemala, where, amidst dense jungles and the cacophony of wild nature, the pyramids of Tikal testaments to the ancient Maya civilization lie hidden. This magnificent city, once flourishing, possesses its own unique enigma. Here, far from the familiar notions of pyramids, we encounter extraordinary architectural structures that served not only as temples for worshipping gods, but also as sites for ritual sacrifices. How did it happen that these monumental structures, adorned with sacred symbols, remain in the shadows compared to their Egyptian counterparts? Why did the Maya choose to build their pyramids precisely here, in the heart of the tropics? Perhaps it is because they held a significant place in their culture, serving not only religious purposes, but also reflecting deep knowledge of astronomy and acoustics. One of the most famous pyramids of Tikal, Pyramid 1, is known for its unique acoustic properties. If you stand at its base and clap your hands, the sound wave will reflect in such a way as to create an effect reminiscent of the cry of a sacred bird, the Quetzal. How is this possible? Could ancient architects have used their knowledge of sound and acoustics to create such an effect? Or is it merely a coincidental occurrence, capable of astonishing only us, modern researchers? The pyramids of Tikal, with their massive stone blocks towering over the green canopies of trees, evoke the feeling that we are in the very heart of an ancient world. Each step on this sacred ground is shrouded in an atmosphere of mystery. How could such a developed civilization disappear? The official version asserts that the Maya faced ecological catastrophes and internal conflicts, but some researchers, such as Dr. Laura Delgado, suggest that there are many more factors at play, of which we are unaware. Perhaps they possessed knowledge that has eluded us, or they had contacts with other civilizations, about which history has left only faint traces. As with Sacsayhuamán, here too numerous questions arise. What happened to these people? How did they interact with nature and with each other? What can we learn from their experience to avoid repeating their mistakes? But this is not the only mystery of Tikal. The pyramids are in a state of constant study, and each new discovery raises even more questions. For example, archaeologists have found remains of ritual sacrifices that indicate the Maya used their pyramids not only for worship, but also for conducting complex ceremonies linked to their worldview. What secrets do these rituals hide? What could they have known about life and death that escapes our understanding? The enigmatic sounds that the pyramids produce penetrate the depths of our consciousness, stirring in us a desire to unravel their mysteries. Each whisper of the jungle, each echo in the subterranean chambers, reminds us that there are places on Earth that harbor more secrets than we can even imagine. How many more secrets are hidden in the depths of ancient cities like Tikal, waiting to be revealed? The pyramids of the Maya, like many other monuments, remain an unsolved enigma, and each new day brings hope that we may approach the truth hidden in the ages. Stony faces, gazing at the sky. Delving into the world of ancient mysteries, we are transported to Mexico, where under the scorching sun lie hidden the Olmec heads' giant stone sculptures weighing up to 40 tons with remarkably detailed features. These monumental heads, created thousands of years ago, continue to stir the minds of researchers, leaving behind a trail of secrets and questions. How could such gigantic works of art be created without modern technologies? What effort was required for their creation? And what inspired the ancient Olmecs to create such impressive statues? These questions remain unanswered, and each day, as we gaze upon these enigmatic faces, we find ourselves curious. What could they tell us if they could speak? Each Olmec head, possessing unique features, makes us ponder the society that created them. Some scholars suggest that these sculptures might have represented portraits of rulers or important individuals, but the true purpose of these statues remains unclear. Why such enormous sizes? What did they symbolize for the ancient Olmecs? There is also a theory about possible influence from Africa, but despite numerous studies, concrete evidence for this has not been found. How so? Could ancient civilizations communicate with each other, leaving behind only the shadows of their cultures, or is this simply the product of modern researchers' imagination? Each Olmec head, seemingly gazing at the sky, evokes a sense of an incredible connection to the past. We can only guess what they might have seen over the centuries, changes of epochs, the rise and fall of civilizations. But what happened to the Olmec culture? Why did they disappear, leaving behind only these enigmatic stone faces? Some believe they faced ecological problems, while others think they were absorbed by more powerful civilizations. However, none of these theories can explain how such a developed culture could disappear without a trace. How could ancient craftsmen process and transport such massive stone blocks? Research shows that the Olmecs used simple tools and methods that remain unexplained to this day. Perhaps they possessed knowledge of stone properties and processing that has eluded our understanding. Or perhaps they used methods that we cannot even imagine. This raises even more questions. What technologies were available to these people, and how could they achieve such heights in art and architecture? It is worth noting that the Olmec heads are not the only mysteries left by this ancient civilization. Throughout Mexico, one can find other artifacts that also cause bewilderment. For example, stone stelae with enigmatic inscriptions that have not yet been deciphered. What can these stone witnesses tell us about the beliefs and culture of the Olmecs? What secrets do these stone records hold, waiting to be revealed? Thus, the Olmec heads, like many other ancient monuments, remain an unsolved mystery. Each new day brings hope that researchers will get closer to the truth hidden in the ages. How many more secrets does our planet hold, waiting to be uncovered? We can only guess how many secrets lie at the bottom of oceans or in the depths of ancient forests, hiding history that still lies beyond our understanding. Vanished City, Palenque and its cosmic secrets. Traveling through ancient lands of Mexico, we find ourselves in the mysterious city of Palenque, once the heart of the Maya civilization. This magnificent city, surrounded by jungles and hidden from view for many centuries, is one of the most enigmatic legacies of antiquity. Enormous temples, adorned with exquisite carvings and hieroglyphs, tell us about the rich culture and complex system of beliefs, but the most intriguing is the temple where a tomb was discovered, causing controversy and bewilderment among archaeologists and researchers. How could it be that the tomb of a prominent ruler resembles a spaceship? What cosmic meaning did the ancient Maya put into this strange image on the sarcophagus, which many call the Maya astronaut? The sarcophagus found in the tomb is adorned with mysterious symbols and images that raise many questions. Some researchers suggest that it is merely a stylized representation reflecting the Mayas' beliefs about the afterlife. However, others cannot help but notice similarities with modern concepts of space travel. How could the ancient Maya, living more than 1,000 years ago, create such similar images? Perhaps they truly possessed knowledge of the cosmos that was lost over the centuries? Or is it merely a coincidental resemblance that we are trying to explain from the perspective of modern technologies? Palenque, despite its mysterious past, is also a symbol of loss. Why did this once flourishing city end up forgotten and swallowed by the jungle? Some historians believe that its inhabitants faced environmental problems, depleting the resources of their land, while others suggest that internal conflicts and wars could have led to its decline. However, these theories cannot explain how such a developed culture could disappear without a trace, leaving behind only ruins and mysteries. The inviting aroma of the damp forest and the sounds of wild nature create an atmosphere of complete immersion in the world of the past. In every stone, in every element of the architecture, one feels the breath of history, calling us to unravel the secrets hidden in the shadows of the past. What did the inhabitants of Palenque know about the stars and the cosmos? What knowledge about nature and the universe did they carry with them into oblivion? The Maya city, hidden in the depths of the jungle, continues to keep its secrets. Artifacts found on its territory give rise to new questions, each of which requires careful study and analysis. What can these ancient objects tell us about the beliefs and knowledge of the Maya? Perhaps they carried their knowledge of the cosmos through generations, leaving us only hints of what we are not yet able to understand. Thus, Palenque, like many other mysterious places, remains an unsolved enigma. With each new discovery, we approach understanding the ancient civilizations, but each revelation gives rise to even more questions. Are there other cities like Palenque waiting for their researchers? What secrets does our planet hide? We can only guess how many more stories lie at the bottom of ancient forests, waiting for their time to be told. Strange coincidences. Moai of Easter Island and their mysteries. Moving away from the mysteries of Palenque, we find ourselves on the other side of the world, on the remote island of Easter, which, despite its isolation, harbors no less intriguing secrets. Known for its magnificent stone statues, the Moai, which stand like sentinels overlooking the boundless ocean, raise numerous questions about how and why these giants were created. How could ancient Polynesians, stranded in such a remote place, build such monumental structures? This strange coincidence with the Mayan culture sparks interest. Is there a connection between these distant civilizations, or did they independently arrive at similar architectural achievements? Each statue, carved from volcanic tuff, weighs several tons and reaches heights of over 10 meters. But what lies behind their creation? How were they transported around the island, where modern technologies and mechanisms were absent? Some researchers suggest that simple yet effective methods were used, such as creating special paths and using ropes. Others believe it was linked to more mystical aspects, such as rituals and ceremonies that emphasize the importance of these monuments for local culture. But why do some statues have bodies submerged in the ground? What significance does this have, and how is it connected to their symbolism? The isolation of Easter Island facilitated the unique development of its culture, which, despite the absence of external influences, achieved remarkable results in art and architecture. However, as with Palenque, this isolation could also have led to decline. How could such an advanced culture, which created magnificent statues, later face ecological problems and internal conflicts? Perhaps they exhausted the resources of their island, unaware that their actions would lead to the destruction of their society. The Moai standing on their pedestals seem to be silent witnesses to events that have forever remained in the shadows of history. Each one holds mysteries that have not yet been solved. What could they have known about the world and themselves? What were their true purposes? Perhaps these statues were not only symbols of power, but also bearers of knowledge about stars and navigation, which allowed ancient sailors to conquer the oceans. Thus, Easter Island, like Palenque, remains a field for exploration and discussion. Our history is full of mysteries, and with each new discovery, we only slightly lift the veil on the secrets that continue to shroud ancient civilizations. What other secrets are hidden in the depths of the ocean and the sleeping forests? What else can be found on these remote islands about which we can only speculate? The mysteries of the past await their explorers, ready to unravel them and bring light to the darkness of oblivion. The mystery of the crawling stones of Death Valley. Moving from the enigmas of Easter Island, we find ourselves in the heart of Death Valley, in the United States of America, where nature has created a unique phenomenon that leaves scientists and enthusiasts of mysteries scratching their heads. Here, at the bottom of the dried-up lake of Racetrack, under the bright sun, and in the silence of boundless spaces, stones weighing tens of kilograms, seemingly possessed by an invisible force, crawl across the surface of the earth, leaving long trails behind them. How is this possible? How could such a strange phenomenon have come into existence, which to this day has no final explanation? These crawling stones, astonishingly, do not require human intervention. They become moving objects by themselves, creating an atmosphere of mystery that envelops the entire area. Death Valley, known for its scorching climate and extreme conditions, holds many mysteries, but the crawling stones are perhaps the most enigmatic of them. Some researchers suggest that the movement of these stones is caused by a combination of rare natural conditions. Ice films formed during cold nights could serve as a catalyst for their movement. When the temperature rises, the ice begins to melt, and the stones, already sliding on the frozen surface, start their strange journey across the lake bottom, leaving trails that can reach several meters in length. But how can one explain that some of them move over greater distances without any visible influence? What forces are pushing them forward? Stories about the crawling stones have grown numerous with myths and legends. Local residents tell tales of how these stones could be connected to the spirits of ancestors or serve as magical signs. However, scientists studying this phenomenon strive to provide a more rational explanation, although they have not yet fully unraveled the mystery. How could such a simple, seemingly natural anomaly leave so many questions unanswered? Some researchers even suggest that this phenomenon might be connected to magnetic fields or even cosmic influences, adding more mystery to this history. But this is not the only mystery hidden in Death Valley. Here, one can encounter other natural anomalies, such as strange forms of relief and unique geological formations, which also challenge widely accepted views of nature and its laws. What are the causes of these natural wonders? What else might this enigmatic place be hiding, where every corner breathes with mystery? Despite all research and theories, the crawling stones of Death Valley remain a mystery that still awaits unraveling. What are the true mechanisms of their movement? What is their purpose in this silent but full of mysteries world? Perhaps there are many more mysteries waiting for their time, and each new discovery only underscores that humanity is still on the surface of an ocean of ancient secrets. The mysteries of our past continue to remain unsolved, and who knows what other wonders of nature might be hidden in unexplored corners of our planet? Pyramid under the church, the mystery of Cholula. Moving from the strangeness of the Valley of Death, we find ourselves in the heart of Mexico, where at first glance, an unremarkable hill hides one of the largest pyramids in the world. The pyramid in Cholula, long considered just a hill with a church on top, hides secrets and mysteries that remain unsolved. How could such a grand structure remain unnoticed for so many centuries? What was its true purpose, and why did the Spanish decide to build a church on top of it, as if trying to close this sacred monument of ancient culture? When archaeologists began excavations in Cholula at the end of the 20th century, they discovered that beneath the earth was not just a pyramid, but a complex of structures built from massive stone blocks that were perfectly joined together. Imagine how these stones were cut and transported, and then carefully laid to create something so magnificent and mysterious. The question arises, how could such an advanced civilization, like the Toltecs, leave such a legacy, and why was it forgotten? According to historical data, the pyramid was built more than 2,000 years ago and may have served as a place of worship for ancient gods. Local residents believe that this sacred place was connected to the heavens, but with the arrival of the Spanish, everything changed. In the 16th century, seeking to strengthen their influence, colonizers built the Church of Santa Maria on top of the pyramid, effectively closing access to the cult site, about which they probably had no understanding. What drives people to silence history? Some researchers suggest that this little church could have served as a symbol of colonial control, while others believe that the Spanish knew of the pyramid's greatness and deliberately hid it to erase the memory of ancient cultures. But whatever the case, this action only deepened the mystery, making us ponder how many more such enigmas our planet may hide. Like the stones in the Valley of Death, this pyramid continues to speak of itself even through the centuries, calling us to look into its depths and try to understand what happened at this sacred place. At present, the Pyramid of Cholula remains one of the most mysterious and undervalued archaeological finds in the world. What are its true dimensions, and what secrets does it hide in its depths? How did ancient rituals influence the creation of this grand structure? And, most importantly, what else may be hidden beneath the earth, waiting for its time to reveal the forgotten civilizations? Humanity has not yet been able to answer these questions, which only confirms that the mysteries of the past remain unsolved, and each new discovery only emphasizes that we know only a small part of history. Fortress of Ollantaytambo, a geometric and engineering enigma. Moving from the secrets of Chulu, we find ourselves in the heart of Peru, where the Fortress of Ollantaytambo stands, a unique structure built at an altitude of over 2,700 meters above sea level. The uniqueness of this fortress lies not only in its scale, but also in its strange geometry, which challenges all known laws of construction. How did the Incas manage to build such massive walls and terraced platforms, perfectly fitting together? These questions torment the minds of researchers, for it seems impossible to lift such stones to such heights without modern equipment. Archaeologists studying Ollantaytambo have discovered that the fortress walls are executed with remarkable precision. Huge stone blocks, weighing several tons, were processed so that they fit together perfectly, as if cut from a single piece. This causes bewilderment. How could ancient Incas, without modern tools, achieve such craftsmanship? Some scientists suggest that the stone might have been soft during processing, raising even more questions. How did they reach such a level of knowledge about the properties of materials? Local legends tell us that the fortress of Ollantaytambo was built not only as a defensive structure, but also as a sacred place for worship. The terraced platforms may have symbolized the connection between earth and sky. But if this is so, what significance did these structures hold for the Incas? What role did they play in their culture? These questions, for which there are no definitive answers, only underscore the mystery of this place. Some researchers suggest that the Incas might have used forgotten technologies, lost with the arrival of the Spanish. This theory, although it raises many doubts, makes us ponder how many more secrets history may hold. Could the Incas have possessed knowledge of geodesy and construction that we still do not understand? As for the place itself, its atmosphere is difficult to convey in words. Stepping onto the terraces, you feel the fresh mountain air, filled with the aromas of wild flowers and herbs, and around you stand majestic peaks of the Andes. Each stone plate, each corner of the fortress tells its own story, but unfortunately, we cannot hear it. What was life like in Ollantaytambo? What rituals were performed here? And why does this place, full of grandeur and mysteries, remain so enigmatic to this day? Despite all the research and discoveries, the fortress of Ollantaytambo remains one of the most intriguing and incomprehensible chapters in the history of the Incas. What were the true reasons for its construction? And what secrets are hidden within its depths? And, most importantly, what other discoveries await us in other forgotten corners of our planet? These questions remain open, reminding us that many mysteries of ancient civilizations still await their time to be revealed. The mystery of Teotihuacan, a city without right angles. Traveling from the enigma of Olmec, we find ourselves in the heart of Mexico, where the ancient city of Teotihuacan, a place where there are no straight angles, stretches out majestically. This enigmatic megacity, built long before the arrival of the Aztecs, remains shrouded in mystery to this day. Who were its creators? How did they manage to build such grand structures as the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, which continue to awe with their magnitude? All these questions spawn numerous theories and debates among scholars and historians. Teotihuacan, which translates from the Nahuatl language as the city where people become gods, was one of the largest cities of antiquity. Its area exceeds 800 hectares, and yet none of its buildings have straight angles. How did this come about? Some researchers believe it was done with consideration of astronomical observations and spiritual practices, emphasizing the importance of harmony and connection with the universe for the ancient builders. But what exactly stood behind this unusual architectural concept? The Pyramid of the Sun, the largest structure in Teotihuacan, is impressive in its dimensions, over 200 meters in height and nearly 300 meters in width. But how could the ancient builders create such a construction without modern technologies? One of the most intriguing theories suggests that Teotihuacan was built using forgotten knowledge of geometry and construction materials. Some scientists even point to parallels with Egyptian pyramids, asserting that the proportions and constructions in both cultures exhibit remarkable similarities. How could this have happened? Was it a simple coincidence or a connection between two great civilizations? Research shows that Teotihuacan was a powerful cultural and commercial center where various tribes and cultures coexisted. Scholars find numerous artifacts testifying to a high level of societal development, from sophisticated water supply systems to magnificent murals that depict rituals and everyday life. Yet, despite this, very little is known about the city's mysterious inhabitants. Why did their culture disappear? How did the once thriving Teotihuacan become a desolate place filled only with echoes of the past? Legends of the local inhabitants add even more mysteries. Some believe the city was abandoned due to natural disasters, while others are convinced it happened as a result of internal conflicts. None of the theories provide a clear answer to what actually happened to this great civilization. Could they have possessed knowledge that we still do not understand? The atmosphere of Teotihuacan is captivating. A cool breeze brings the scent of magnolias and smoke, and in the distance the echo of footsteps on ancient stones can be heard. The walls of the pyramids, covered in moss, hold many secrets, but they are not ready to reveal them. Each stone, each crack in the walls reminds us that life once thrived here. But what exactly happened remains in the shadows of history. Thus, the mystery of Teotihuacan continues to intrigue researchers and history enthusiasts, leaving many questions unanswered. What were the true causes of the disappearance of this great city? Who were its inhabitants and their culture? And what can we learn about our own past by studying these ancient ruins? These questions remain open, like the pages of an unread book, waiting for someone to take up the challenge and unravel the secrets hidden in the stones. Secret caves of Puerto Rico, gates to other worlds? Traveling from the enigma of Teotihuacan, we find ourselves in the tropical paradise of Puerto Rico, where mysterious caves await their explorers with open arms. These subterranean worlds delve deep into the earth, creating a mysterious atmosphere filled with ancient legends and secret artifacts. Local residents believe that these caves are not merely karst formations, but gates to other worlds once inhabited by unknown civilizations. What is the true nature of these caves, and what secrets do they hold within their depths? Puerto Rico is home to many caves, but the system of caves known as Caminos del Rio stands out. Here, one can find enigmatic petroglyphs that, according to scholars, were created by ancient Taíno Indians. These mysterious carvings, etched into the rocks, depict animals, people, and symbols that remain open to interpretation. What do they signify? What were the intentions of their creators? These questions remain unanswered, and the petroglyphs seem to whisper about ancient secrets that we cannot decipher. Some researchers propose that these caves may have served as sacred sites for ancient peoples, where rituals and ceremonies were performed. How could such important cultural centers be forgotten, leaving only traces on the rocks? Local legends tell of underground peoples who, according to tradition, lived in these caves and guarded their secrets. Some even claim that these beings possess magical abilities and can travel between worlds. But who are they? And is there a connection between them and the ancient Taíno cultures? Research shows that Puerto Rico also contains traces of other civilizations that cannot be attributed to known cultures. For instance, archaeologists have discovered strange artifacts that do not fit into familiar historical frameworks. How could such peoples inhabit this island and remain unnoticed? Some theories suggest that they were migrants from other regions who brought their knowledge and culture. But how could they leave such a deep mark on history if their existence remains a question? The atmosphere of the caves in Puerto Rico is captivating. The cool air fills the space with a mysterious silence, and the light filtering through narrow cracks creates magical shadows on the walls. Each drop of water falling from the ceiling seems to whisper about distant times when these caves were full of life and mysteries. The intricate forms of stalactites and stalagmites remind us that time stands still here, and the caves themselves are guardians of secrets waiting for their moment. In this way, the mystery of Puerto Rico's caves continues to intrigue explorers and adventurers, leaving many questions unanswered. What are the true causes of the appearance of these enigmatic artifacts? Who were their creators? And what knowledge did they carry with them into eternity? And what else can we learn about our past by exploring these incredible subterranean worlds? These questions remain open, like enigmatic doors to other realities, waiting for someone to decipher their secrets and shed light on the dark corners of history. Legend of the Temple of Quetzalcoatl, built in one night? As we navigate the mysteries of the caves of Puerto Rico, we encounter another ancient enigma, the Temple of Quetzalcoatl in Chichen Itza, Mexico. The legend tells us that this magnificent temple was constructed in just one night with the help of supernatural forces. How could such a grand structure appear in such a short time? There are numerous stories and myths associated with this enigmatic place, all pointing to the fact that ancient architects possessed extraordinary knowledge and skills that continue to inspire awe and bewilderment. The temple, dedicated to the god Quetzalcoatl, is famous for its staircase, which twice a year, during the vernal and autumnal equinoxes, creates a remarkable phenomenon, a play of light and shadow that gives the illusion of a serpent descending the staircase. How did the ancient builders achieve such precise and captivating effects? Complex mathematical calculations, astronomical observations, and a deep understanding of nature, all these seem to have been part of their knowledge. But at what cost did they achieve this? The secrets hidden in the temple's construction continue to fascinate researchers. Each detail, from massive stone blocks to intricate carvings, speaks of a high level of craftsmanship and symbolism that we have not yet fully deciphered. Some scholars suggest that the temple may have served not only as a religious center, but also as an observatory, allowing priests to track the movements of celestial bodies. But how could ancient people possess such knowledge of the cosmos? It is possible that they were in contact with more advanced civilizations or even other worlds. This possibility raises many questions without answers. An important aspect of the temple is its connection to natural cycles and changes in time. Each vernal equinox became not only an astronomical event, but also a symbol of rebirth and renewal, when sacred rituals were performed at the very heart of the temple. What were the true intentions of the ancient builders who created such a significant place? What did they want to convey to future generations through their architectural achievements? The answers to these questions remain shrouded in mystery, much like the temple itself, which continues to attract researchers eager to unravel its secrets. Moreover, the Temple of Quetzalcoatl is not the only enigmatic structure in Chichen Itza. Nearby are other buildings, each containing its own secrets and legends. For example, the Observatory of El Caracol, where one can also observe celestial phenomena, and numerous other structures, each seemingly guarding its own stories and mysteries. But how were all these buildings connected? What did they mean to the ancient Maya? Thus, the Temple of Quetzalcoatl and its surroundings continue to be a source of inspiration and mystery for modern researchers. What is the true history of this magnificent structure, and what knowledge might it have hidden within its stone walls? Perhaps the answers lie deep in the past, waiting to be discovered. How many more secrets are hidden in the depths of history? And how many more mysteries can we unravel by following the trails of ancient civilizations? At the conclusion of our journey through ancient mysteries and enigmas, it is impossible not to note that the majority of these extraordinary structures are not only real, but also officially recognized as part of humanity's historical heritage. The Temple of Quetzalcoatl in Chichen Itza, the Observatory of El Caracol, and numerous other architectural landmarks scattered across the globe serve as not just testimonies to engineering genius, but also repositories of secrets that still await their revelation. These places are shrouded in an aura of mystery and continue to captivate researchers, historians, and travelers with their unsolved enigmas. What are the true stories behind their construction? What ancient rituals and events could have taken place within their walls? How much knowledge and wisdom was lost with the disappearance of the civilizations that created these magnificent structures? Even today, as we pass by their massive walls, we feel that they hold more questions than answers, evoking both awe and wonder. Now that you have learned about some of the most intriguing secrets of the past, what are your thoughts? Which of these mysterious places would you like to visit personally? And which structures impressed you the most? Share your comments below. We eagerly await your insights and impressions. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss out on new stories about enigmas waiting to be discovered. There are still many exciting tales from around the world ahead, and who knows how many more secrets lie hidden in the depths of history, ready to be uncovered?